Moving quickly, she walked over to the base of a large ancient tree. I immediately caught on, dismounting from her back, and scrambled up the low branches, climbing high into the tree to get a better view of the clearing. Watching with intense interest, on the branches, I saw her deep white pelt stand completely on end. A separate pack of fierce timber wolves crept up from the deep shadows of the brush, confronting her in a haughty, aggressive manner. Their golden eyes were narrowed into thin slits, watching her move as they began to taunt her, snapping the jaws together. The white wolf glanced up at the tree for a brief second to see if I was okay, before snapping her attention back to the wolves circling her. Up in the branches, a sudden rush of warm breath went down my neck. I froze as a wet, rubbery touch brushed against my bare skin. I dare not draw attention to myself. But down below, the wolves were causing an absolute riot, violently snapping their jaws at the white wolf's feet. She swatted at one with a massive paw, but another swiftly lunged, taking a bite out of her leg. Suddenly, long, warm sensation slid down my shirt. I could feel a heavy breath panting steadily against my flesh. Terrified, I turned my head round slightly, only to realize my face was inches away from another massive wolf, hidden in the branches with me. The gray wolf calmly licked its jowls and then gave me a massive wet slurp right across the face. I shrieked in pure surprise, backing away from the large beast as far as the branches would allow. The gray wolf simply tilted its head, moving forward to sniff my clothes, letting out a soft, curious whine. Down below, the white wolf heard my cry. She turned her head towards the tree and let out a massive, booming snarl. Lunging upward, she grabbed me safely by the shirt collar, pulling me cleanly out of the branches. She threw her head back, and I slid gracefully down her furry neck, landing right back onto her spine. As I grabbed hold of her neck, I felt a thick layer of wolf saliva clinging to my fingers. I gave a disgusted, playful scoff, wiping the slime off my damp pants. In front of us, the large gray wolf from the tree scrambled down, sat comfortably on its haunches, and raised a single paw toward the white female wolf. The tension in the air instantly evaporated. The white wolf backed away slowly, and suddenly the surrounding timber wolves hoisted their rears high into the air, dropping their front paws into a classic playful bow position. I quickly caught on to exactly what was happening. The large gray wolf was the alpha, and the smaller ones surrounding us were the betas. They weren't trying to kill her. They were playing with us. They were testing me. The white wolf gave a slight, satisfied nod and barked back at the alpha. The rest of the pack began wagging and swaying their tails in absolute delight, chasing on in other small circles. Sensing no greater harm, I carefully dismounted from our back and stepped into the clearing, a genuine smile breaking across my face as I greeted the timber wolves. The timber wolves bounded towards me, pouncing onto me, throwing their entire weight against my frail body. The white wolf nuzzled her massive snout against my cheek, nuzzling me with deep affection. I finally understood. This wasn't a threat. This was her family, and now it was mine too. Later that night, a sudden, white, hot jolt of pain traveled through my body as an uneasy gurgling in my gut forced me into a rigid, upright position against the soft fur of the white wolf. I did my absolute best to ignore the burning agony in my torso. Collapsing back on my side, I tried to focus entirely the warmth of her coat, in the steady rhythmic rise and fall of her breathing, matching the slow thump of her heartbeat. A heavy wild musk entered my nostrils as I lay perfectly still. Suddenly, my stomach churned violently. A painful, sharp bolt shot straight through my core and into my bladder, causing me to tense up, clench my stomach in a vice grip. A wave of embarrassment hit me. I couldn't stay here, but the longer I waited, the worse it was going to get. A feeling of icy cold dread washed over me as I came to the realization that after the adrenaline and the excitement disappeared, I had realized that I hadn't used the bathroom in a number of hours. Sitting up, I leaned away from her and looked around the shadowed cavern. The rest of the timber wolves were sleeping soundly, huddled tightly against their father, the alpha, who lay heavily on his side, with the cold stone floor touching the right side of his face. I turned my eyes towards the cavern exit, where the full moon shone brightly, casting a long, pale beams into the dark. Carefully trying not to make a sound, I made my way towards the opening. I looked over my shoulder one last time to check on the white wolf. Her face tucked neatly into her massive tail as she lay curled into a large pristine ball. Her ears twitched slightly in her sleep, listening to subtle sounds of the shifting night around her. Leaving the warmth at the cave, I followed a silent shadowed path through the thick brush, looking for a spot that offered both privacy and enough moonlight to see. I finally sat down against the base of the old tree. As I did my business, a slight freezing shiver rippled down my spine. I could feel a set of eyes watching me. It was a physical sensation pressing against my skin, but from which direction I could not tell. Was the white wolf tracking me, making sure I was okay? Or was it something else entirely? Pushing through the panic and the paranoia, I scrambled around for a pile of dry leaves, quickly cleaning myself up before standing and heading towards the sound of a nearby running stream. But that uneasy, suffocating feeling would not quit haunting me. The nervous shiver kept flowing down my spine like ice water. I knelt down on the damp riverbank, dipping my trembling hands into the freezing current to wash them off. Every few seconds I froze, holding my breath, listening for any sign of impending danger. Satisfied, I turned back towards the brush, heading in the direction I thought I had originally come from. But the moment I stepped away from the water, a massive wave of cold dread washed all over me. I looked at the towering trees. Every single one of them looked exactly the same. The suffocating feeling of being watched didn't help ease my anxiety either. With my mind playing tricks on me, frightening warped images danced through the shadows, moving to the tune of the forbidden whispering songs of the night. I looked around frantically, the realization that I was entirely lost crashing over me. I clenched my fist in pure, helpless anger.